So if you were low income a couple decades ago, you were screwed. But now, thanks to the internet, it is possible to make 6 figures a year or even 7 figures a year, starting from literally your home with just a laptop and a steady internet connection. In this video, we are going to take a look at Watch These 13 Minutes If You Want to Be a Millionaire by Joshua Mayo. So is watching this video going to turn you an actual millionaire? We'll see.
You know, like most of you watching, I've always had dreams and ambitions of being a millionaire. And I remember 2 years ago when I first started this channel, I was broke. And I was very transparent about where I was financially.
I keep telling myself, well, maybe I should wait until I'm a millionaire. Because if I'm a millionaire, then people would value my information more.
That makes sense. If you're a millionaire, obviously, people are going to value your information more, especially if you help people to increase their finances, or to start a business, or to make more money. It adds a lot more weight to what you're saying. And that's exactly why I'm often saying this is the sort of life that starting my own online business has allowed me to live. Because I need to show people I am legitimate to be talking about this kind of subject. You would not want to take weight loss advice from an obese personal trainer, would you? It wouldn't make any sense. And in that same spirit, you definitely don't want to be taking financial advice from your parents or even from your local banker, especially if they don't have the level of financial abundance that you want to have for yourself. You need to learn from the people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Don't ask a skinny guy how to get jacked, because he doesn't know. And in business, people really do value transparency, honesty. It's actually going to build a lot of trust with your customers. And if the customer or the prospect, it trusts you, chances are they will come back for more. They'll keep buying the new products or services that you put out. Typically on a sales meeting, one fundamental thing that you must never do is to judge the prospect in any way, because the second that the prospect is going to feel like you're judging them, their guard is going to go up and you will never get that sale, even if deep down they know your product or your service is the perfect solution to all of their problems. But you will never get that sale because you broke their trust, and nobody is ever going to buy from someone or from a company that they simply don't trust. I'm sure that you don't go around buying stuff on scammy websites. Instead, you much prefer to buy something on Amazon. Why? Because it's trustworthy. You know the brand, you know its reputation.
Now I am officially a millionaire. I've got over $500,000 worth of Apple stock and some other smaller positions in broad market ETFs, 3 different savings accounts, 2 of them with $250,000 in them each, and another one with a little bit over $300,000.
I'm glad he covered the investments part, because honestly, if you have $1 million in your bank account or $100,000 in your bank account, it's essentially sleeping there, it's not doing anything. And year after year, because of inflation, your money is losing value. This means that even if you have the same amount of money, you can actually buy less stuff. And that's why the middle class, they typically get poorer and poorer every year. And that is also why the rich is getting richer. And the more money you have, the easier it becomes to even make more money. Why? Because you've got some massive leverage if you have a lot of capital to invest. I mean, if you're able to invest $10 million in the stock market, it's going to be a huge difference compared to if you can only invest $1,000. If you invest $1,000, it's going to be minimal, and making a lot of money, it's great. But like I said, if you just save all of your money in your bank account, it's losing value year after year. Who does inflation benefit? Asset owners. Why? Because the more assets you own, thanks to inflation, you get richer because they gain value, and you don't have to do any extra work. You just need to maintain those assets. It can be real estate investments, stock market investments, or even other things. To give you an example, this could be collector cars, collector watches, and other stuff like that.
You know, growing up poor, living in low-income housing in Detroit, Michigan, there are no opportunities. Everyone's kind of left to their own devices, and what ends up happening is people either become stuck in these super dead-end jobs for the rest of their lives, or they end up in prison or somewhere else even worse.
That is very true, and that is often why I preach starting an online business. Because yes, technically speaking, if you were a lawyer, if you were a doctor, a neurosurgeon, you could make $1 million or even more than that per year. However, that only applies if you live in like New York, because if you live in a small city somewhere in India or somewhere in Germany, you'll never be able to make $1 million or more per year just by being a doctor or by being a lawyer. And that's the problem with traditional careers and brick and mortar businesses. Your opportunities are tied down to literally what is around you, to your environment. So your environment becomes an actual limitator for a lot of people. However, with an online business, you can reach anyone anywhere in the world within just a few clicks. If you run an ad on YouTube or on Facebook, your target audience, people who would be willing to buy your products or your services, they can become aware of your brand within just a few hours, a few minutes. Now compare that if you wanted to open up a gym. If you open up a gym in your local area, it can only ever accept the people in the local area. We have known since forever that depending on where you are born, in which country country, in which family, in which city you live, you will have access to different opportunities. And a lot of people, they simply have barely any opportunities. And that's why the internet and social media is, in my opinion, the great equalizer. Because if you are watching this video right now, you have access to a laptop, you have access to a steady internet connection, so you, technically speaking, have the opportunity to start your own online business and to make money online. And that is a crazy opportunity. Because back then, if you wanted to be successful, you needed a lot of startup capital. You needed to buy some land or to open up some factories. And if you didn't have the money to do that, if you started up low income in life, how the hell were you going to obtain that money? Your only realistic option would be to get a loan from the bank, but then you had to convince the bank. And would they really just lend money to anyone who's poor? Not really. So if you were low income a couple decades ago, you were screwed. But now, thanks to the internet, it is possible to make 6 figures a year or even 7 figures a year, starting from literally your home with just a laptop and a steady internet connection. I mean, to give you an example, everyone knows Mr. Beast. He started from very humble beginnings, and his mother did not even support his business idea. But because he worked really hard at it and he did the right thing for long enough to see the results that he wanted, he went on to become incredibly successful. And now he is the highest paid creator on YouTube, making over $54 million with just YouTube AdSense revenue. And more than that, he started up many other business ventures like merch and even a fast food joint called Mr. Beast Burger. And guess what? They have generated over $150 million. That is insane. At the time, he was only 23 years old when he opened up his fast food chain. Can you imagine starting off poor, becoming incredibly famous, making $54 million a year with YouTube AdSense revenue, and starting a fast food chain that brings in $150 million? Would that have been possible a few decades ago? Not really. Trust me, without the internet and without social media, if he had wanted to open up a fast food chain and to take it to that level, it would have been a completely different story. And I can bet nobody would have heard of Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast by now. So if you are watching this video, you're not like the older generation. You are probably well aware of the many opportunities that come with internet and with social media.
And so when my mom moved us out of Detroit when I was about 13, we ended up moving into a trailer park at the very edge of this super wealthy town called Lake Orion. And Lake Orion was the exact opposite of Detroit. All of my friends in Lake Orion had extremely wealthy and ambitious parents. They were CEOs and CFOs and business owners and such. And in contrast, all of my friends in Detroit had very poor parents who had no ambition whatsoever. And growing up in these two different polar opposite environments allowed me to see the world from two different perspectives. And this let me see firsthand the difference between how a rich person views the world and how a poor person views the world. And how ultimately becoming rich or staying poor comes down to just a few small things.
The environment that you grow up in, the family that you grow up in, it has a massive influence on who you end up becoming later on in life. If you start very poor, low income, your parents have nothing, you have nothing growing up, it's going to be harder to get to the top, obviously. If you start with wealthy parents, they instill the right money beliefs in you, it's going to be easier to become very successful as well. That said, just because you start off in a very terrible position, in a low income family, it does not mean that you will have to be stuck like this forever. If you look at any successful person, most of them, they are self-made. This means that they didn't have necessarily rich parents. They had to do all of the work themselves. Now, fair enough, some people started off better than others, but the truth is that we all have our own unfair advantage. Some people, they will be smarter. Some people will have more natural talent. Some people will be better at sales and marketing. Some people will be more driven, more ambitious than others. At the end of the day, like I said, we all have our own unfair advantage. You just need to figure out what is yours. And when the internet didn't exist, if you were from a low-income family, you were very likely to adopt the same beliefs about money and about finances than your close relatives, than your friends. Why? Because you were never exposed to another worldview. Rich people and poor people often live separately. So if you grew up low income, you didn't know what rich people knew. You didn't think the way that they did. But now with the internet, like I said, it's the great equalizer. Because nowadays, you can literally take advice for free from millionaires or from people who have built very successful businesses. So now, even if you have a poor environment, it could even be toxic. It does not mean that you will be stuck like this forever. As long as you have the willingness to do what it takes, to put in the work day in, day out, and to not give up, you will get there eventually.
And so the first thing that contributed to me becoming a millionaire is developing clarity. You see, most people never get what they want out of life because they don't actually really know what they want out of life.
This is very important. You need to have a crystal clear vision of what you want your future to look like. A lot of people say, I want to make more money. I want to get in shape. I want to lose some weight. I want to build more muscle. I want to find a partner. However, that's not very specific. This is not what is going to drive you to jump out of bed every morning, excited to crush the day, to do whatever it takes to reach your goals. What personally drives me, what fulfills me, is to set challenges for myself and to every day see that I'm putting in the work and I am getting closer to making all of my dreams come true. I've personally read so many books on finances and on money, and I have followed many online courses by very successful people. One of them got close to making $100 million. So that's to say, I learned from the top of the top. And one thing he said, and that that thing really stuck with me. Whenever he would get in a slump, he wouldn't be motivated, he wouldn't put in the work, he would procrastinate. It was always because of this one thing. He had lost sight of his vision, and that is why he made it a daily exercise to remind himself of why he was working so hard. And how can you do this? It can simply be by having a vision board that you put somewhere that you can see every day before you begin your workday. It can be having a list of goals that you read every morning and every evening before you go to sleep. It's been proven scientifically that people who write down their goals, they are 40% more likely to achieve them. In my opinion, it's because you invest some time into writing down your goals. Even if it is a minimal investment, technically speaking, you are still committing yourself, even in a micro way, to reach those goals. Because you need to start somewhere. To be able to reach a goal, you need to have the goal to begin with. A lot of people, they're going to set New Year's resolutions. They will say they want more money, to be healthier, to be more fit, to look better, but it is not very specific. They don't have a plan and they don't have a set objective to begin with. If you don't have a target, you'll never be able to hit it. You'll always miss. In my opinion, the reason why most people are very dissatisfied with the current state of their lives is because they're not clear about what they want in the first place. And so because they are not clear about what they want, they cannot go out there and pursue it every day. And so of course they feel depressed and miserable because they simply notice that day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, their life stays the same because they're not actually chasing after their dreams. So for the next 12 months, I want you to set 3 main goals. One should be a health-related goal, another should be a finance-related goal, and then a third one, it can be whatever you want. It can be related to your personal relationships, it can be related to a hobby, like learning to play the piano, or it can just be any other challenge that you want to set for yourself. But the reason why I don't actually recommend that you set more than 3 main goals is because you can only focus on so many things at a time. And if you set 3 goals that actually matter to you, you'll see that they're going to take a lot of time and a lot of energy from you anyway. You won't have time to do everything.
If you want to become a millionaire, you have to get extremely specific and clear on why you want to become a millionaire.
And now you might think, well, obviously, if I want to be a millionaire, it's because I want to live a life of luxury and of abundance. I want to fly private, I want to drive the cars that I want to be surrounded by beautiful people, I want this, I want that. And while that's great, those are all external motivations. Because believe me, when you get that supercar, when you get that yacht, or whatever it is that you want to have, then you won't know what to do anymore. Some people, they reach those goals and they literally fall into depression because that was their only reason putting in the work day in, day out. And I'll be honest with you, as amazing as it is, the materialistic stuff, at some point you get used to it. It's no longer exceptional. It is your new hygiene standard. So while it's great to have those motivations to start a business, like I want to make more money, I want to hire social status, I want to drive a supercar, I want to live in this fancy place, that's amazing. But you also need, in my opinion, other reasons why, as to why you want to become a millionaire. Like, what's your big reason? What's your big why? It could be providing for your family, being able to buy anything without having to take the price tag into consideration, being able to travel whenever you want, to live in the country that you want to live in, to help other people to achieve the same transformation. It can literally be anything. In my opinion, every motivation is good to take. Like, some people are going to shame you for wanting to experience luxury, for instance. In my opinion, it's ridiculous to shame somebody for that. What are we alive for? To live life. And you are damn right if you just want to enjoy life.
It's just to make sure that your reason is extremely personal to you, right? Like, perhaps you want to be able to afford to buy your mom a house one day or something. Like, whatever it is, just make sure that your goal is extremely personal to you.
It's true that if you have a deep reason why you do things, like you want to retire your parents, for instance, you want to take care of your family, those reasons, they might be more powerful than somebody who simply wants the Instagram lifestyle. It really depends on you, on your personality, and on your goals.
You do this, you'll be really surprised with how much quicker money just kind of starts to flow into your life because you'll actually be motivated to take action.
It's completely true that the moment I started to have a clear vision to set those goals for myself, I got results faster. Why? It's not because of some magical thing or because of some fairy that helped me, not at all. It's simply that because I knew exactly what I wanted, then I just came up with the plan and it became easy to just do the daily work because I had my big goal and I just broke it down into what do I need to do on a monthly basis to get to my big goal. And then I even broke it down again. What do I need to do on a weekly basis? And then on a daily basis. Let's take the example of the gym and of building muscle. If you want to build more muscle, let's say you want to add 20 pounds of muscle on your frame in 1 year. Then you need to figure out, okay, what workout program do I need to follow? How many calories a day do I need to eat? And then as you can see, you've got your daily routine to follow. Because if you just say, I want to be more fit, more healthy, I want to build more muscle, you don't really know how much, you don't really know what exactly, so you won't have a daily plan like that. What I've personally seen is that people who don't have a plan, they become a part of somebody else's plan.
The next thing that contributed to me becoming a millionaire is increasing my self-esteem. Most people will never accomplish anything significant in life because they have a very low self-esteem.
This might sound a bit woo-woo to some people, but you will only ever reach the level of success that you see yourself reaching. And by that, what I mean is that I read this book a while ago called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's all about psychology and how your subconscious mind works. And in that book, if I remember correctly, there was the story of the $50,000 a year salesman. So that's how the story goes. There's a salesman, he makes $50,000 a year, hence the name name of the story. But the company thought that he was a really great guy, hardworking and all. So they decided to promote him, and for that promotion, they moved him into a bigger city with a bigger customer pool. They thought if he has access to more people, surely he will close more people and make more money. But the funny and interesting thing that happened is that that wasn't the case at all. He still made $50,000 a year. And then it turns out that no matter which city the salesman was in, no matter the size of the city and of the customer pool, he still made $50,000 a year either way. So what's the problem really? Is he not that skilled? In reality, the only reason why he was never able to break past that $50,000 a year plateau, it was because he saw himself as a $50,000 a year salesman. This means that he never made more, but he also never made less. A lot of people, they want to change what they do because they want to get a certain outcome. Like if you want to lose weight, it's New Year's resolutions, you say, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And you say, I'm going to go to the gym every day and I'm going to do 1 hour of cardio, I'm going to run on the treadmill. You might do it, but then after a week, you'll start to lose motivation, and most people, that's when they quit. Now, why do they quit? Because they didn't change who they are. They didn't change their identity. They simply changed their actions. And then one day, I understood this crazy thing that completely changed my life. I realized that my actions were always in alignment with my beliefs and also with my identity. This means that if I wanted to change my actions on a long-term basis, I needed to first take a look at my beliefs and also change them to then change my identity, who I was. I exercise literally every single day. I barely ever miss a workout. It only ever happens when I have to travel all day or things like that. But otherwise, I'm at the gym every single day before I begin my workday. That's just because I really enjoy it. But I wasn't always like that. Not too long ago, I struggled with my self-esteem, with my body, with my health and fitness, and I had many unresolved issues in my life. But then one day, I just had enough, and I decided to change things. I decided to take control of my life, because I've always been very ambitious, I've always had big goals, but one day I just looked myself in the mirror and I realized, okay, if I don't change my actions, if I don't change me, who I am as a person, I'll never get what I want. And that's why ever since that day, I committed to doing whatever the hell it would take to reach my goals. And ever since then, I have made so much progress, it is insane. And I thank my younger self every single day for having put in the work, because without all that work, I would not be here today. I would be in a completely different position, believe me. The only thing that is now separating you from the things that you want, it's effort and time. It's literally that simple. Most people, the reason why they don't succeed, it's because they quit way too soon. But if you want to obtain different results in your life, you have to be willing to not only change what you do, but to also question your beliefs and who you are as an individual. It doesn't mean that you have to change your name or become a completely different person. This has nothing to do with that. However, like I said, it means that you need to question your beliefs. If you're used to thinking, I can't afford this, or this is too expensive, change the way that you think, change your thought patterns. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do to afford this thing? How can I afford it? How can I make it possible? First, change your mindset, and then your actions are going to change, which will entirely change your reality. Because if you have all of those negative beliefs about money, about finances, about rich people, like for instance, let's say you grew up low income and you have the belief in your mind that if you want to become a millionaire, you have to do evil things, like you have to do bad things, like you've got to scam people or just be a bad person. If that's the belief that you have, how will you ever become a millionaire? You simply won't. And that is why people see self-sabotage. Self-sabotage happens when your actions are out of alignment with your beliefs and your identity. But if you want to start your own online business, you don't know where to start, you have no clue what to do, I have recorded a free video in which I am going to analyze every popular online business model. We'll take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I am also going to share with you the 3-step process that you can use to start getting your first customers today. The link is in the description below if you are interested. And with that said, as always, I wish you the best on your business journey, and I am waiting for you on the other side.